Today we'll be looking at some further addition and subtraction of algebraic fractions. So some of these questions will get a little bit more complex, but the steps are still pretty much the same. So for some of these questions, we will have questions where the denominators are still numbers, but what we're going to also start moving on to are questions where the denominators are algebraic expressions. So in these cases, we need to be careful when working out our lowest common denominator. Another thing that we're going to be looking at is most of the questions that we had earlier would have just one term in the numerator, but now we could have more than one term, and a lot of these ones were additions. We're going to be also looking at subtraction examples. So for these examples, the first one, we want to simplify this algebraic fraction. So the first thing we need to do is work out what our lowest common denominator is. Now we're looking at 12 and 15. So you think 12 times tables and 15 times tables. And I think 60 is the lowest common denominator. So we know 12 times 5 is 60 and 15 times 4 is also 60. So what we need to do is we're going to need to multiply the denominator by 5, and we're going to multiply the numerator by 5 too. But when we go to multiply the numerator by 5, we need to multiply the whole thing. So we're going to put a 5, and we can put that result in brackets. In our second fraction, we know 15 times 4 is 60, so we're going to multiply the denominator by 4. I'm going to put brackets and put the 4 on the outside there. So when I go to write it out, we're going to have two fractions over 60. Now I'm going to write this all into one fraction with the brackets in it. So we have the 60 in the bottom, and what we've got is 5 bracket m plus 1 plus 4 bracket m minus 3. Okay, so if you want, you could write it as two separate fractions, and then when you put it together, you just need to combine all of that numerator into the top of your fraction. What we're then going to do is expand each of those brackets and then also simplify. So we've got 5m plus 5 plus 4m minus 12 all over 60. And then so 5m plus 4m is 9m. 5 minus 12 is negative 7, so minus 7 over 60. That's what our answer comes out to be. With our next example, we want to find the lowest common denominator. So we're looking at 4 and 6. So 4 times tables, 6 times tables. The lowest common denominator is 12. So we're going to multiply the denominator by 3 and the numerator by 3. In the second fraction, multiply by 2, and we're going to put a 2 in front of it. So when we go to write it out, again, we're going to write the whole of the numerator all together. So we've got 3p minus 5 minus 2 bracket 1 minus p. Now this is really important because when we go to expand this numerator, we expand the first one, and when we expand the second part, we're expanding the negative 2 in. Okay, so this is where some people will go wrong if they don't write out this step. So write out all of it in the numerator, and then when we go to expand it, we'll have 3p minus 15 minus 2, and then negative 2 times negative p is plus 2p. Okay, that's probably where most people will go wrong. They'll have the wrong sign there because they forget to expand the negative also into that second term. So we've got this all over 12. Then we're going to collect like terms. We've got 3p plus 2p, which is 5p. Negative 15 minus 2 is minus 17, all over 12. With our next example, this time we've got algebraic expressions in the denominator. Now, if we look at these two expressions, there's actually nothing in common. Yes, they've got x's, but we need to treat as an x plus 1 unit, and this one's an x plus 4 unit. So when we go to find the lowest common denominator, because there's actually no common factors in the two expressions, your lowest common denominator is the product of the two. So basically, we're just going to times them together. So our denominator needs to be x plus 1, x minus 4 in brackets. So what that means is in the first fraction, we've already got x plus 1, but we need to multiply it by x minus 4. So then we multiply the top by x minus 4. In the second fraction, we've got x minus 4, but we need an x plus 1. So we're going to multiply that in. And then I can put that in the top as well. So then when we go to write this out, we're going to have one big fraction. And in the denominator, it's x plus 1, x minus 4. And then in the numerator, we have 4 bracket x minus 4 plus 2 bracket x plus 1. Again, from there, we're going to expand each of those brackets. So 4x minus 16 plus 2x plus 2 all over x plus 1, x minus 4. And when we collect like terms, 6x minus 14 over x plus 1, x minus 4. So we leave the denominator in factorized form. We're not going to expand it out because when it's factorized, it means that if we need to do further manipulations, we can, if we need to cancel stuff, we can cancel. All right, with our last one, we've got two denominators here. Okay, one's got a double bracket, one's just got a single bracket. So we've got an x plus 2 and an x minus 1. So that means the lowest common denominator needs at least x plus 2, x minus 1. Now, when we look at the second fraction, we've got an x minus 1 there, and we can already see that's here. So that means we've already got part of the denominator we require. So if we were to multiply this by x plus 2, then what we'll have is our two denominators are exactly the same. So the lowest common denominator is just that double bracket. So what we do to the bottom, we also need to do to the top. So we'll times it by x plus 2. So what we've now got is we've got a denominator of x plus 2, x minus 1. And the numerator is 1 minus 5 bracket x plus 2. So again, it's really important that you write all of this out in one go first before you go to expand the 5 in. Okay, because that negative is also going to affect what happens with our simplification. So we're going to take that negative 5, expand minus 5 through. So 1 minus 5x minus 10 over x plus 2, x minus 1. When we go to collect like terms, we've got minus 5x minus 9 over x plus 2, x minus 1. So when we're looking at denominators with algebraic expressions, more often than not, we just need to multiply those together. But sometimes, if there are common components, we only need one of those terms. So let's give these questions a go. It will take a lot of practice. Be very careful with negative signs. That's probably where people make the most mistakes.